Rachel Boucher here, head of content at Event Marketer, joined by Juanita Chavarro Arias, our managing editor, and Kate Shea, senior editor and manager of digital content. Hey, Kate. Kate is our curator of The Brief, a weekly dispatch on LinkedIn and eventmarketer.com featuring experiential news and campaigns that caught our attention. And yes, this is The Brief Live, where we provide commentary on all that Kate has collected over the month. And after a brief hiatus in December, we're back to talk about all things January and the new year. And our team kicked off the month in Las Vegas at CES 2026, where what has been dubbed as affectionate intelligence was a hot topic. With robots you could curiously kind of imagine in your own home, literally folding laundry, just the friendlier side of scary AI and robots. Fewer showstoppers at the Consumer Tech Trade Show this year, but plenty to talk about. Juanita, what was your key takeaway?
Yeah, I was all for those household robots. Like I saw the ones that were like attached to the windows and they would like clean it. And then they had like the robot vacuums that would like lift the flip-flop out of the way. And I'm waiting for those. But in terms of booths, I really liked Waymo. I thought they had a cool exhibit in the West Hall that really leaned into that open concept as a circular booth, like full circle, no walls really around it. Walked in and it was super open and it included a 600-pound Waymo vehicle suspended above it. So that was kind of a showstopper. But inside you could sit in the self-driving vehicles and explore their features. And there was a wall where you would push a button and a branded pin would pop out like a vending machine. You would just reach down, pick it up. And then a brand ambassador was also at a nearby counter and you would just ask them for a pin. So I got Passenger Princess with the little Waymo car on it. And then around the exterior of the booth was a projected animation that highlighted the cities that Waymo is operating in, because it's still pretty new. It's kind of popping up here and there. And I stuck around to see Orlando in the lineup since the service it's on its way here to my hometown city.
Fantastic. Yeah, everybody was talking about that suspended vehicle. That was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah,
Yeah.
lots of people stopping to take pictures, myself included, with my little pin. I was like,
And Kate, how about you?
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't with you on site, of course, but I was watching from afar. And what caught my attention was Reddit and its conversation bar. So we know Reddit is famous for shaking up B2B event formats, right? And I thought it was brilliant that they went to the world's biggest tech show and bypassed all of the AI that all the other exhibitors were hawking and simply served up customized drinks and conversation, really simple. And a detail I really liked was that these beverages were specifically customized to suit whatever the attendees' focus areas or goals were for the year. So that ends up mapping back to how Reddit connects businesses to its online communities. So definitely a standout for me. So juice cheers to that.
Real mind body connection there for that.
For real.
For me, shout out to the Age Collective by AARP. Aging isn't the sexiest of topics, but the innovations and technologies that are available now might change your mind. And that's what we saw throughout their booth. And what I loved about the experience, and it was a revamp for the brand from last year. It was a portal into that future thinking. Like literally, there was an ambient voice sharing these adjectives and of aging empowerment, gorgeous digital imagery that was manipulated by physical turn dials, which I really loved. And then my favorite, this final zone in the back of the space that had this translucent wall overlooking the brand's broadcast stage, kind of bringing the conversation full circle and out into the open. Just really well done from an experiential journey perspective. We all can't stop talking about it. So cheers to that.
yeah, and it didn't scream AARP either.
Yes.
Like it was so tech forward, like you would not know that that's what it was.
It changed your opinion. And I think that was a huge goal. Like not an opinion, but just change your perspective completely on the
For
topic.
sure.
All right. So Kate, I'm going to switch back to you for our first shout out from the brief this month. The new year always brings about resolutions and perhaps some premonitions. What do you have for us?
Yeah, so I'm going to call it out early. We may have a trend forming here at Experiential, which is fortune telling. So, the way a fortune telling themed activation plays out is probably going to vary, but we're seeing that the underlying idea here is that brands are getting consumers to interact with them, and then they're walking away with, a fortune, which is basically just kind of customized brand messaging in like a really fun, pretty package, right? So Netflix did it first. They did it at Grand Central Terminal in January. They had this 12-foot tall animatronic, Zoltal style fortune telling machine. Only it was a mechanical Teyana Taylor instead of Zoltar. And essentially, the commuters approached the installation. They interacted with Teyana, who was being all otherworldly, and they ended up getting these personalized Netflix content recommendations based on new series and films debuting this year on the platform. So they ended up walking away with these limited edition content forward tarot cards that kind of helps them continue to discover their future, as it was said. And then another example just last week, this UK-based finance firm called FCA planted a fake ATM installation at Waterloo Station in London. And the whole idea was to warn consumers about, how pervasive and dangerous investment scams can be. So basically, this machine had big, bold letters. It said that it was going to give away a fortune, and people would walk up. They would kind of interact with the screen, and then a window would open. And the FCA's new campaign mascot, Emil the Seal, would appear. And he delivered a fortune cookie with a fortunate message, which was to, what was it? It was check it's real before you seal the deal. So, back to the seal. You had me at Emil. That's my fortune telling recap.
All right. And a mix of science and intrigue. Juanita, you've got an interesting angle from the beauty space.
Yeah, and in LA Mall, FX popped up an activation tied to its new series, The Beauty, that stars Evan Peters and Ashton Kutcher about a drug that makes people into perfect looking beings. I mean, I'm like, oh, where's it at? So, ahead of the premiere, FX brought that concept to life with the Beauty One Shot Studio, where consumers got a glam photo shoot experience to kind of simulate how this shot can transform them. And so they got mini makeovers in this red wash print, like the lights were shining into the space, and they came away with beautiful headshots like the models in the show, but without the side effects. If you've seen the show, you know what I mean.
All right. And then I'll bring us home with the gift of time. Indeed, you don't need a big, flashy idea to make an impact. And in the case of Dogfish Head, it was an opportunity to kind of get out of the winter help consumers get out of the winter doldrums, satisfy some New Year's resolutions, and enjoy a cold beer. So the brand's Time Bank pop-up craft brewery allowed New Yorkers to enjoy pours of its 30-minute light IPA, sample some bites, throw on some vinyl, enjoy a sketch portrait, and more, again, in 30 minutes time. And I kind of love that the expectation for the consumer was clear and upfront, as was the value proposition. And I love that the brand was then able to calculate how many people came in and literally how much time they spent. So a total of 15,000 minutes spent with consumers over this program. Just clever. And speaking of beer and food and time limits, all eyes are on Super Bowl 60 this weekend. Juanita will be there reporting on all the experiential in San Francisco. Juanita, what are you looking out for?
Yeah, so I hear that the trolleys, the famous San Francisco trolleys, are going to be involved. We definitely have a lot of food and beverage going on. A lot of peer takeovers is what I'm seeing, whether that's concerts, parties. And so it seems like, San Francisco is one of those big cities. And like when it was in Vegas, it was just the strip, which is a little bit more confined, but this has so much room to expand. And then, when you think about the stadium is not exactly in San Francisco, so you have all those towns in between that there are like retail activations and all that to make things a little bit more local for the people who are going to be around. So I'm really excited to see what's going on. I'm going to be posting everything on Instagram starting on Friday through the weekend up to the game, and then post game we'll also have some recaps and extra coverage. So I'm really looking forward to it.
All right, polish those sneakers, Juanita.
Yeah, I already am just kind of Google mapping out the routes I'm going to take. And like I said, it's a big city, so a lot of ground to cover.
All right. And we'll chat all about that in February. Thanks for tuning into The Brief Live. We'll be back next month with even more recaps and commentary. Until then, subscribe to The Brief LinkedIn newsletter and check out all of our weekly coverage on eventmarketer.com. Thanks, everybody.